Hello and welcome to another edition of Grandstanders Live. I'm your host, Scott Kerman, and I'm joined by my usual cohorts, the Professor Russ Stevens, Uncle Joe McLaughlin, and he's JP's first son, Tim Hoey. Well, we have another great show for you tonight, boys, so let's get it started. Breaking news from the Grandstanders Live desk. Malcolm is back. Wasn't that a TV show? Malcolm in the Middle.
Malcolm in the Middle
is going to be playing defensive back. One Malcolm Butler, 32 years old, and he's got a lot of tread in those tires. He's back, signs a 2-year deal at the most $9 million. Guys, this is what we're doing. We're bringing back the band.
The Dolphins are picking up Tyreek Hill, and we're picking up Malcolm Butler.
And Armstead, too, they picked up a great offensive line.
Yeah, I heard
offensive tackle out there.
I heard a rumor too that Chris Slade is going to be back too. So they're really going to get the band together.
Brogan might be.
That's a name passed. Wow,
Steve Brogan still lives in the area.
Brogan's going to be a tight end. He's coming back as a tight end.
Well, look, the Kyle Van Noy's, the Jamie Collins of last year, that didn't work out. That was a complete failure. Those guys,
the Hill gang, yeah.
Those were not good. And Malcolm Butler didn't even play last year. And like Joe said, you said in the thread, it was questionable what kind of player he was when he played in 20.
Mm-hmm. He's a year older.
I know a lot of people were really breaking down the door to sign him.
But, I mean, when we last saw Malcolm Butler, he was sitting on the sidelines during the Super Bowl, and Philadelphia Eagles were torching us for 50-plus points, and he stayed on the sidelines. Matt Patricia left, Malcolm Butler left, and now both of them back. I need answers.
Do you believe that was 5 years ago?
Yeah.
That long ago.
What is the answer? I have no clue. I'm scratching.
Well, I sent you one. Ben Volen of the Globe said, maybe this is just showing a commitment to play zone, and they're going to sign a bunch of guys who can play zone and turn their defense into a zone defense. Joe probably has a better understanding of what the implication is of that, but I hope it's something. I hope there's a plan behind it somehow.
Well, they got that quarterback room. Got plenty of depth. Just don't have plenty of quality in it. Well, I can't see. It would be Mills is going to be the number one playing on the outside.
Oh gosh,
Malcolm Butler might be number two on the other side.
Do I have this correct? Butler was released by the Titans because he was not playing well, correct?
He's physically out of shape. Same thing happened in Arizona.
In the middle of the season.
That's when he retired.
He was out of shape during the season.
Yeah, I mean, reading between the lines, what seemed to happen was he had some personal problems, and sounds like he took, what amounted to taking a year off to get himself pulled together. Belichick, look, the most charitable way of describing this is he came in for a tryout. Belichick liked what he saw. Maybe he got his head back together. He's in better shape, and he feels like he can get a guy who knows the system. I mean, that's the only charitable thing I can come up with.
And neither side badmouthed the other the whole time. In these 5 years, I never heard a bad word about Malcolm from Belichick and vice versa.
We're still seeking an answer. I think still seeking an answer on what exactly went down there.
Well, Joe had talked about it the last few weeks. Bill Belichick is lazy right now. He's just taking the easiest route to filling up a roster. And, we saw him at one time. We saw him in Georgia. Watch, every guy he drafts, the whole draft is going to be from Georgia. I mean, that was the one guy he saw. That's it.
I hope you're wrong about that, because I saw him over at Stonehill College a couple of weeks ago. And if that's if that's the truth, he's going to draft a bunch of guys from Georgia and Stonehill.
They do have that outstanding defensive end over there, the 5'11", 190 kid.
You mean who plays lacrosse?
Yeah. Well, you got to remember, Bill Belichick doesn't sign the checks. Robert Kraft or Jonathan, I don't know which.
Are they going to be content with last place in the East this year? I mean,
it does feel like it. It really feels like. They'll be competing.
Well, there's always the Jets.
I think that we can say we don't have to be the biggest fans, though we are, to say that the Patriots are a lot worse than they were when they played the Bills when they got completely wiped out. They're a lot.
Well, here's my only caution against that. 5 days ago, we were all up in arms about the Red Sox and how they've gotten worse and they're doing it. And then they did something. And I think there's still trades to make. There's still draft picks to make. I think we just got to take a look at what this thing looks like as we get closer to June, something like that.
Oh,
May.
yeah, he's not done at cornerback.
No.
There's another move, either a trade or a high draft pick. I mean, the draft is still.
All we can talk about is today, though. And today,
Yeah.
the ship.
No, I totally agree.
Not half
date,
empty. It looks 7/8 empty right now.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Thank God you got out of that luxury box, Tim.
JP's first son is the voice of reason right now. He is just
Mark
wow.
it on the calendar. Mark it on the calendar right now.
Look, can Malcolm Butler be cut? I assume that this 2-year, $9 million deal was loaded with incentives that he probably can't even make.
Probably
So it's not
500,000 guaranteed, probably.
No, it's not a guarantee.
Super Bowl MVP is $1 million. Super Bowl.
Yeah, I'm going to bet they didn't give him much guaranteed money and that they can move from him pretty quick. But again, look, they at least signed Trent Brown, and that's our next subject.
Only $4 million guaranteed in Trent's contract. It's all incentives.
I mean,
that sounded like a deal that Trent Brown wanted to be back with the Patriots.
I mean, if Trent's agent shopped him around, you had to think there was something better out there than that. I
also think that Trent knows that his best football he's ever played has been in New England, right?
Yeah.
And so, wouldn't you, he's made some money.
But Russ, we talk about these guys having such a short lifespan in the NFL. Wouldn't you, if you're him, wouldn't you send your agent out and, look for a nice 3-year deal with
Tim,
$30 million guaranteed in it or something?
There's no one's ever going to give him
because of his reputation.
Right. Yeah, no one's ever given him $30 million guaranteed. He made it taking a look and said, all right, I could go sign a 3-year contract for $8 million a year in San Francisco with $6 million guaranteed. And if I don't play well, they're going to cut me and I'm going to have to go through this whole process again. So I'll take the money from the Patriots where I play well.
He's played half the games in his career. So, paying him 8 is equivalent to paying him 16 million because you could have somebody play during those 8 games. Signing Trent Brown makes me a little more angry that they didn't sign Karras. If they were going to get rid of Shaq Mason, which was clearly the plan because they dumped him, then you had just signed Ted Karras. You feel like you're in pretty good position with Onwenu filling in for Shaq Mason and Karras. But now all of a sudden they got to go get somebody.
But Joe, can't you draft a guard who can come in and play? Draft a guard in the 3rd or 4th round and come in and play from day one and be more athletic than Karras?
Onwenu was a 6th rounder.
Right.
It's easily done. I didn't like to see Karras go because he could play tackle and he was the backup center.
Yeah, and also
he played very effectively at backup center.
Also, we have other needs at other spots that we would rather be using those draft picks on other positions than
but
we kind of thought we were pretty comfortable at.
Yeah, but you have salary cap issues too, right? Like there's only so much money. So I don't know. Like I want to see how this thing shakes out in 3-4 weeks after the draft. Timmy's right. We can only go by what we've seen so far, and what we've seen so far is they're significantly worse. But let's see what happens and who they draft.
Hey, can we visit this Tyreek Hill trade for a minute?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. First of all, that's thank you for bringing that up, Timmy. We talked about Kansas City Chiefs, how they have just unlimited cap space. They actually signed Schuster this week, and we're like, how does this working out? Well, it didn't work out that well because they had to dump Hill because they didn't want to pay him, and he's their second best player.
Picks for him though, and including a 1st and a 2nd.
I know.
He's a massive part of that offense. Gigantic. I mean, him and Kelsey are kind of what make it go.
Yeah, but you know what? It didn't go that. It didn't run that hot and go that far last year. Like that was not the same offense that down the stretch and in the playoffs. That was the shocking thing for me. Whether it's Kelsey lost a half step or Hill lost a half step, but they were not the same team late last year that they've been in the past.
Well, those guys got beat up, Russ, the last few years. They're like the Patriots. They played a lot of games.
You know what? Yeah, exactly, Scotty. I think you're exactly right. You get a guy of Hill's size, it's all speed. And when that guy loses a quarter step or a half step, now all of a sudden he's he's not what he was. He's Deion Branch, right? Which is a really good receiver, but he's not a guy who can literally change the game by running straight down the field.
Anymore.
And I don't know, like, I think it's honestly, I think it's a terrible trade for Miami. Horrible.
I agree.
Horrible.
Why do they give up so many picks?
We know how this story ends.
Yeah.
Right? A year and a half from now, they're going to be sitting there looking at Tyreek's number on the books. He's going to do something stupid in Miami because he's not a great guy, right? He's getting paid through the nose.
Miami, what a shock. He said yes to Miami, right?
Let's hope he leaves the kid and the girlfriend back in KC.
Oh. Look, we've already seen it.
That way they'll still be in one piece.
We've just seen in the last few weeks with Khalil Mack, with Mack and Cooper. They
never works out.
Both teams gave up as much as they could 2 years ago for these guys, and this was supposed to be a huge move. Right. And next thing you know, they're peddling them for nothing.
Yeah, I'm not like that was interesting. That trade makes me know, like, will Miami be a better team for 8 games next year? Yeah, but guess who's throwing them the football? Tua Tagovailoa.
Right.
Like, seriously.
I know.
Come on. Try that again, Russell.
Whatever. I sounded like Scotty on that.
Give me another shot then. We'll give you another shot at it.
I Tua because I'm,
Tua
first name basis, and then I call him T. There you go. T. Called everybody just by their first letter.
We all know that contract's going to end badly, right? Like, we all know that. We don't know when, but it's going to.
Just restocked a freaking bevy of draft picks. I mean.
But Miami has to put out a winner this year, no matter what. With all the bad publicity from the Flores lawsuit and the problems that owner has, he's got to put a winner on the field for his fans. If he wants to continue to support, he has to do it.
Casey's stocked up on draft picks too.
Mm-hmm. No, Russ has the right point. Look, Mahomes or Tua. I mean, they're going to end up handing the ball to Hill because Tua can't get to him any other way.
Dude, was there any more Belichickian move than what Andy Reid did today? He sends out the guy that was like Bill Belichick.
A year early rather than a year late.
He'll be getting there like 1 hour before the game. He'll still be out for the night before in South Beach.
It's gonna be bad down there. Who's kidding?
The same thing, Russ. Very Belichickian.
Look, it's one of these things where you hear something sold and then you go through your closet, see if you have anything that someone's going to buy. Who's buying that? My God. So how many picks was it? 5 picks total?
It was ridiculous.
And premium, first, a second, 2 thirds.
And a fourth. What? They must have just Kansas City must have been covering their mouth laughing. Yeah, how about another 4? Oh, okay.
Four.
Yeah, they did it.
By the way, it's for really
22 first round, 22 second round, 22 fourth round, 4th and 6th and 23.
Oh my God, they gave him the whole draft. They gave him the whole draft this year.
This is for an undersized receiver who's pushing 30. Who no longer is going to get a ball thrown to him by Pat Mahomes, who's probably the best QB of a generation.
KC's going to get 2 of the top 50 football players coming out.
Oh, my God. It may have been the best thing the Chiefs ever did in their whole life.
It's a Herschel Walker trade, for God's sakes.
It really is.
Herschel Walker was a 230-pound running back. This is like a little tiny 29-year-old guy.
Well, this just shows you how bad the deal was. The Jets bowed out.
Yeah.
Desperation enables KC to rebuild their team much cheaper. That helps with the salary cap.
By the way, the Patriots wide receiver room is probably better than the Kansas City Chiefs right now.
Yeah, right. But right now.
Did Kelsey get hurt at the end of last year?
He did not look like Travis Kelce in the last playoff game. That's for damn sure.
That last 2 minutes was the best 2 minutes of quarterbacking.
Sure was.
In the history of the NFL by far.
Sure was. Yeah. Or the worst defensive backfield play.
Yeah. I wonder if Casey goes out and gets like a stud receiver with that 29th or 50th pick,
Sure.
All right. So every time I want a guy to leave, he stays. I wanted McCoy to go back. Now Bentley. Seriously? This is the Orlando Roberts of the 2022. What is he going to play fullback now too? Why is he still on the team?
He's the first down middle linebacker. He's a run stopper. That's all.
He doesn't stop the run. You mean that's his job responsibility? He does poorly.
That's his body type.
Seriously?
Yeah, he's a big guy.
And now I'm
Big
hearing.
and slow.
I can't believe I'm saying this. That Deontay Hightower surprisingly has no teams interested in him. May come back to the Patriots.
Even the Patriots might not be interested in him.
I mean, what are we doing here? I mean,
I don't see Hightower on the roster next year.
If he wants to play, it's going to be a very difficult one, Russ, right? If he says I want to play for veteran minimum,
if he wants to play for the veteran minimum, he'd be back. Belichick would welcome him with open arms. Who's kidding who?
He's re-signed all the other captains, Slater, James White,
my God.
and McCourty. So you may as well sign him, all 4 captains back.
Are they can all share one bottle of Grecian formula.
Grecian formula. What's the plan?
If you're going to negotiate your Grecian formula up before you negotiate.
The plan is not to spend much. You see their schedule this year, they're going to get thrown.
So what do we look?
They're lucky to win 6 games.
On Felger and Maz, they were going down a game by game, going loss.
Well, you never know.
Wherever this ends up, I'm pretty sure I'm going to pick them to go 10-7 again, and they'll probably go 10-7.
Yeah, look, obviously the draft is going to be very important, and I'm going to bet they do trade down now because just to aggravate the shit out of us.
Hey, what do you think about the idea of that kind of cropped up a little bit of so would you trade Damian Harris for a good pick or a cornerback?
Wow, that's interesting. Knowing that Stevenson is your number 1 back going into the season,
Harris
Now
has got 1
remember,
year left.
Stevenson doesn't have a fullback anymore.
Yeah,
Harris
that might
does
be
right,
something.
but Joe, you could get a fullback like that. You can get one of those guys, right?
They said they're not. Didn't Jakob Johnson say on his way out that they told him they weren't going to carry him?
Yeah, but I guess my point is like that's the one spot in the roster you have excess. You have 2 young, really good, valuable guys who are still inexpensive. Harris has 1 year left in his contract, right? So that's an asset. Like if they flip Damian Harris for a good wide receiver or a good cornerback tomorrow, we'd feel a little bit better about this team, probably.
absolutely.
And Stevenson can be a 3-down back.
Yeah, he catches
I'm sure
balls.
in his second year, he made
Absolutely.
such an improvement the first year that I think he'll do even better in the second.
Right.
And Timmy, you can pick up running backs who are working at Wendy's right now, and somehow they work out.
There's a bevy of tremendous, 6 foot, 225 pound, 4'4" guys.
Yep.
It's just mountains of them. But I think Damian Harris is a very good player. Damian Harris's don't come down the pike every day.
No, they don't. But like you may have to rob Peter to pay Paul in this thing, I guess is my point.
We're pretty deep at running back right now.
Yeah.
No, well, not really. I mean, we have.
Last year we did run into trouble.
They traded my man DB too, or they let Bolden walk. Did they resign White?
Yeah.
Yes, we signed White.
Yeah.
White's
So,
coming out.
Look, I think you'd have to bring in a veteran back that a Fournette type. You'd have to bring in somebody. If you went with Stevenson, you'd have to bring in another.
I can't believe they even had Fournette up here for a visit. I mean,
that may have been.
He was pretty expensive, $7 million a year for a running back.
Oh, was that Rosenhaus's client? He usually.
I think it was.
They have a good relationship. Belichick, that's what he does. He throws some stuff. But look, White's coming off a serious injury. He's an old man.
I mean, we pretty much had him retiring. Right?
Yeah, with the hip.
And Damian Harris is like Russ said, is a free agent after this year, but he's also injury prone. It's tough for Damian Harris to stay on the field. So you could get something like that, Russ. Absolutely.
I don't know. I mean, I'm just trying to look around and say, what are your assets, right? You have draft picks and you don't have excess very many other places on the roster.
Think Damian Harris gets you a first?
No.
No. If you would try and
Takes a lot to get a first.
That's why he's more valuable to the Patriots than he would be. as
Probably.
Well,
You're probably right. Yeah.
maybe
Where
we
do
could
we
trade
get
him
him?
to the Dolphins for 5 picks. Come on.
Did we get
That's-
Harris? Did we
You
get
gotta be an all-pro 5 times.
I think it
straight.
was a second or third round pick, Timmy. I think it was maybe a third round
Harris?
pick.
Second
Yeah.
round, I think second, maybe I'm wrong. Yeah.
Yeah.
Then with Ivan Fears leaving, we don't know how that's going to affect the running back room too.
Well,
look,
Ivan's been there for what, 25, 30 years? He was here before Belichick. He was in with Parcells and was never promoted, so I don't think.
any more Belichick kids in the fold to bring in?
Is that bringing doesn't he have a daughter?
Amanda. Yeah, Amanda.
Yeah, she
Isn't
can do
she
it.
coaching lacrosse though?
She is.
Cross
Yeah.
football, same,
Did she
Same
get
thing.
fired?
transition right
Fired
over.
or something?
No. I don't think
Yeah, you must have seen some big young trick lifting that ice melt that you could pass over to Foxborough for us.
Hiring drivers right now, actually. I can.
Look, but the irony of all ironies, we can talk about all these players all we want. At least we got a damn quarterback. And there's a lot
Well,
of teams in the
Yeah,
NFL.
that was why Scotty had said they're going to probably go 10-7 because they have a top. I mean, it's not a top 5 quarterback,
Top
but he's
3
a good
quarterback.
quarterback.
Top
Right.
3, right, Scotty? Top 3.
Yeah, absolutely.
Good quarterback.
And Mac Jones will lead us to the promised land. I've been telling you that for a long time. And
If the Bills offer Josh Allen and Casey offer Mahomes, I'd say, oh no, turn you down.
Mac Jones right now. There you go, baby. Oh, he's gonna be ripped. Oh my
All
God.
right, Scotty, Mac Jones or Josh from Buffalo?
You gotta be kidding. Come on, I'm not stupid.
Dump him in a hat.
How many quarterbacks can I do this with right now?
No, not a
Yeah.
ton.
About 20, but
About 20.
next year, it'll only be 10, I think.
Wait,
Yeah.
did we say that with Watson's baggage that we would take Mac Jones over Watson right
How
now?
about, who's the kid from the Jaguars? My man there.
Trevor Lawrence.
Trevor Lawrence.
I would take.
Would you trade him even up right now?
Oh, no, damn it, shit. That's all right. Russ.
Change the subject, Tim.
Yeah, I probably would, but I wouldn't be happy about it. But I would.
Okay, all right. Okay, that's a good answer. Joe,
Oh, for
Trevor Lawrence or
yeah.
Mac Jones?
Happy, yes.
You take Lawrence.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, Timmy.
So much more talent.
Trevor Lawrence, absolutely.
Yeah, I'd have to take.
Yeah, I mean, look, who's more likely to win 10 games for you next year? I think it's Mac Jones, but who's more likely to win a Super Bowl 2 or 3 years down the road? It's probably Trevor Lawrence, right?
Yeah.
Trevor Lawrence reminds me of
Good
Peyton
point.
Manning in his first year, actually. A lot of interceptions.
Yep.
You know.
It's a good call, Timmy.
Look, and Urban Myers. Just we have to before we segue
Boy,
out of
some of the stories coming out of there.
Has he been
He
hired?
was so out of touch.
Has Texas Christian hired him yet, or what?
you know.
SMU.
First of all,
Good job. I didn't read the article.
I just want to say, show me your friends and I'll show you you. Bill Belichick was in Mar-a-Lago with for the Super Bowl with Donald Trump and Urban Myers. So whatever that you want to think
What are you
about
saying,
that.
Scott? What are you
I
trying
with
to
the
say?
same brush.
What are you trying to say?
Urban Myers, when in the NFL, did not know who Aaron Donald was.
Yeah.
So he arguably
You
the
learn
best
these pretty
player,
fast.
the best player in football. It's like becoming a manager in baseball, not knowing who Mike Trout is.
Yep.
And you're the head coach and you're getting paid millions of dollars. I mean, that will go down as and the Patriots have hired some pretty bad head coaches. That will be the worst head coach hire in the history of
Did
the
he
NFL.
really not know who Aaron Donald was?
Did not know who he was. That's how
Some
embarrassing.
of the stories coming out of there are really hair-raising.
I have to look
He
it
was
up.
so out of touch.
And some racist stuff that's coming out this week too.
Yeah.
Stuff that's just unbelievable racist that he was saying to the players. This guy is bad news. I mean, they should send him out of the country. All right, go to the
Well,
Celtics.
it wasn't so much race. He was saying the Southerners was stupid.
Okay,
Well,
Joe.
that's-
Seriously, to black players.
I forget what it was, but he did say he didn't it was code, but he did say these Southern boys.
Well, I was in the
Yeah,
Coast Guard.
okay, Joe,
I was in the Coast Guard with a good amount of Southerners. They're not the sharpest knives in the drawer.
Yeah.
Okay, the
You said
context
what he said
aside,
along those
That
lines.
might be a broad brush, but
how I read it, boys, was racist.
Oh, agreed.
So that, I mean, and let's not put it past Urban Myers. And if you're hanging out with Donald Trump and Mar-a-Lago at the Super Bowl,
stay
All right.
on to see the grandkids.
Yeah, right. All right, boys, we go to the Celtics, and I don't remember, like, with the Red Sox stunk, and then all of a sudden, next thing you know, they should have won the World Series. But this is different. The Celtics were just muddling around.
I'm going to say this is the first year in how many years where there hasn't been pretty much a clear-cut, NBA champion favorite. Maybe a couple years ago, I don't know. But it seems wide open right now.
Yeah, nobody's afraid of the Phoenix Suns right now, I don't think. No, absolutely not. But what the Celtics have done statistically since the beginning of the year is historic for the NBA.
This coach has got this team to do everything we were bitching about 3 months ago. He has got them. You got Marcus Smart stop passing the ball. You got Jason Tatum start taking it to the hole and stop complaining. He's got everyone to do what we all wish that they were doing. I don't know what
It's so easy. It's so easy to figure out what happened.
Jason Tatum seems to have matured and accepted his role as the star and played like it.
It's easy what happened. There's no question. Udoka got to Marcus Smart. It was Marcus Smart's team. He was holding the team hostage. And somehow, whatever he did, he pinned him against the locker and told him, he was going to beat the shit out of him if he didn't stop. When Marcus Smart decided to become a point guard and behave, everything changed.
Let's not beat my man Marcus up too much here. Marcus, after he called the team out in public, wasn't soon after that things started turning around, Scott.
I've never seen a transformation of a team.
Look, I think I think there are a bunch of factors. I think you're right about Ime, but they got healthy. He instituted a really radically different defensive system at the beginning of the year. They were switching everything. And when they were switching, you could see they'd switch and there'd be like 4 feet of distance between the switch and the guy with the ball. And guys were getting big open windows to shoot shots. Now you take a look, just watch them switch. It's unbelievable. They just stone teams dead on arrival.
Yeah.
So that system and Marcus and Brad getting rid of Dennis Schroeder, who looks like he was, poison in the system.
Yeah.
It all just kind of turned around the same time.
Yeah, Eddie House, who's really good on the pregame and postgame show, he said that was the reason they changed, was getting rid of Schroeder. He was the plague.
Because it allowed it allowed Smart to be the point guard. It allowed Pritchard to get back into the rotation. They get White, he can't shoot, but he's perfect for this team. And now all of a sudden, Ime's got 7-8 guys who he just goes to every single night.
I tell you, that game I went to a few weeks ago, 3/4 even ball. They just said, okay, time to
play defense.
Hammer defense. And what the other team got 2 baskets in the next quarter.
Unbelievable.
You could physically see them go, okay, we're playing defense.
What was that, Joe?
It's still kind of a peripatetic type team. They're number 1 in defense, right? Now, in third quarter, since the All-Star break, they are dead last in the league on defense. That's your number 1 in defense, and you give up a whole quarter and you can still be.
Yeah, I know. I know that, Joe. But let me offer an explanation. Teams go. The Celtics go into the half. They're going into the half with like 15-point leads, 20-point leads, right? So what's going on at the halftime? The other team's like, well, hell, we got to come out. We got a gun. We got to come out guns a-blazing. If we don't cut this lead to 10 points in the first 5 minutes, we're done. So these teams come out loaded for bear, and the Celtics are just trying to play their normal defense, and teams just run up the score on them in the third quarter. I'm not trying to, I agree with you. there's still that little bit of thing with them where,
But,
like, are they going to
you
go
know,
to
it's pretty
pieces?
impressive that you can still be number one when you give up a whole quarter, be dead last, number
Yeah.
30 in the league. The one thing I'd like to point out that has changed on the defense was, remember, Robert Williams can't switch. He would just
Yep.
be tripping over himself.
That's right.
And everything. So we may say, well, you know what we'll do? We'll have the 4 guys switch. Robert, you stay back and be rim protector. And it has worked wonders. He's blocked twice as many shots in that role. He's not good coming out and guarding guys on the perimeter. That's not his forte. If you want that, you get Tice or Horford to come in.
Yeah, they got a baby Rob Williams right now because they won't win too many games in the playoffs unless he's playing.
Totally agree. Yeah,
He's
and I
playing
think
20
that's
minutes a game, and I never would have thought he would have.
I think that's why they got Tice. I think it was that they paid a lot. Like, you know, basically they brought in $8 million of salary. But like, I think that's why Tice is here in those last 3 games. I think Williams only averaged in the 3 games he played on the trip. I think he only averaged 25 minutes.
Yeah, just that OKC game, you know, they kept them staying in it because there was no rim protector.
There was no rim
They get
protection.
a lot of layups. And remember, he affects shots that he doesn't even jump for because they feel his presence. I felt like Brad, and we've spoken about it before, Brad really screwed up in the Eastern Conference Finals a few years back by limiting Rob Williams' minutes. And that cost him. He had dominated, I felt, the Toronto series, changed all these guys' shots, and then Brad that was where Brad was not a good game coach.
Yeah.
At times did not have a great feel.
You got to give Brad credit for knowing that his voice was stale. He had sort of lost, I don't know. I don't think he lost the locker room. I think those guys I think it was stale, and he hired the right guy. He just did.
And
they were just punching the clock under him. They've got, and now they've rejuvenated the team. D.
White, again, like Russ said, one of the worst shooters I've ever seen in the NBA.
Great decision maker, though.
But he does everything right, plays the point well, hustles, always in the plays, trying to get rebounds, whatever, all the
number one in plus minus since he's been here. He's number one on the team. I had a Jason Tatum, had a Marcus Smart, I had everyone.
Interesting, yeah.
But come the playoffs, like they know how to let Marcus shoot. They're going to let D. White shoot. They're going to double team guys, and he's going to have to hit some key shots in the playoffs.
I think he will. He's getting open looks. He's getting good shots. They're just not falling. It's not he's leaving up bad shots.
Remember, Tatum had that stretch. He was horrible from 3 for 3, 4, 5 games. And Tatum went out and just had one of those games where 4 of his 5 shots went in, and it all kind of just dissipated from there.
Well, Tatum's so hot right now. He's feeling those 3-pointers.
How about Pritchard? My God, he's hitting on 60%.
Well, Timmy, you've been, you've been keying on Tatum. You know, the most amazing thing is he's been scoring basically 30 points a game with under 20 shots. Right? This is not a guy who's scoring 30 because he's taken 35 shots. This guy is scoring 30 points, taking 18, 19 shots a game.
I saw a highlight recently, and everything he's doing now is doing quickly. He's get the ball, pound it 9 times, and take a step back, right?
Yep.
He's not doing that anymore. He's moving without the ball. He's getting the ball. He's taking a step and taking the shot, or he's making a pass. We're not seeing that 8, 9 times pounding the ball and then doing something. They're moving. He's moving, and it's made all the difference. Give him credit for hitting the weight room because he's got the shoulders now. He was a skinny kid. He's got some beef on him now. He's taking it to the hole, and he's effective. You know, he's drawing the fouls. He's doing everything we were begging him to do. Something has clicked in this kid. You know,
he actually passed to Pritchard a game ago. I've never seen
that. Do you know that Tatum and Pritchard, if you look at all the 2-man pairings in the NBA over the last 15 games, all of them, Tatum and Pritchard, I think, are number 1 in terms of offensive rating.
Wow.
When they're on the court. Out of any other 2 combination of players in the NBA, it's those 2 guys. Now, obviously, Pritchard's just on he's on a heater, right? Like
Is
he's just,
Pritchard the new Eddie House shooting wise? I mean,
well, the question is, Timmy, is like, can Pritchard play good enough defense in the playoffs to get 15 minutes a game?
Yeah.
Because if you can play Pritchard 15 minutes a game and he shoots 40% from three, that's a huge deal in the playoffs.
I think it will all depend on how Ime matches him up against other guards.
Yeah.
Because he's not going to be able to go up against the superstars. He can't hang with them. You put him with a journeyman, he's fine.
Yeah.
But he's not a point guard right now. He's a shooting guard.
But yeah, I mean, right, and that's to Ime's credit.
He's
playing off the ball, and that's why he's thrived, because he's not trying to run an offense. He doesn't need to. He's got White and Smart to do that. By the way, the point guard on this team right now is Jason Tatum. Like, you look at who brings the ball up, who initiates the offense. I would say, like, out of 4 out of 5 sets, when Tatum's on the floor, he's initiating the offense from the top of the key.
But he used to the rotation of the ball used to stop when it got to Jason Tatum.
That's
now
right.
He's actually keeping it going.
Yeah,
that's the difference. Again, how is this possible?
How
do all these players buy into a system at the same time in the middle of the season?
For me, Jason,
because winning is good.
You know, look back on your life. When do things start kind of clicking? Like, all right, hey, this is, this work.
When I was 35.
I was 30. I was 29. This work thing isn't going away. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Right.
I might as well make the best of it. I might as well embrace it and try to be the best at my craft that I can be. That happens, I think, at different times in all of our lives. You know, where you're going like, I guess going to the clubs and trying to pick girls up works better if you have a job. You know what I mean?
There's no question. It's D White. That really sped this up and sustained.
Honestly, I think it's everything. We've talked about 7 things in the last 10 minutes. We've talked about Smart and Ime and White and Tatum figuring it out because he's figuring it out.
When D White walked through the door that the transformation crystallized.
Yes,
they were playing.
They had been playing well. They had been playing. I think it's a lot of things.
You think White has some like hidden leadership stuff going on that we're not aware of?
No, I think he went from when the ball used to go to Dennis Schroeder, and I watched carefully. The ball used to stop at Dennis Schroeder. It's like he had Velcro for fingers, right? Yeah. And you went from a guy who was playing 25 minutes a night, who would stop the ball when it got to him, to a guy that, look at what happened. White is like within 2 seconds, 1 second, the ball's either moving or he's driving or he's shooting every time he gets it.
That just shows you, if you can in every sport, get the veteran player. The prospects, the draft picks, they don't mean diddly. I mean, get the player that we know what we're going to get every night. And that's what it's worked out. And also, I really do, Russ, think that it was just a new guy in the room and that excited Tatum.
It was addition by subtraction. It was addition by subtraction, and it was addition. I think getting Schroeder out of that room was – Schroeder has been a pain in the ass every single place he's ever gone. Like, I have a bunch of Lakers friends, and they were like, good luck with Dennis Schroeder, dude.
Oh.
That Ime probably asked for D White. Knew him when he coached him at San Antonio. Yeah. And so he probably asked him, he knew he'd be a good fit. He'd be the one that would make this.
Well, Brad Stevens overpaid for him, Joe, so he wanted to make sure he got him. I mean, he was giving him as much,
So who's the pivotal player outside of Tatum? And you'd say, all right, in a world in which
the Celtics lost them,
in the world in which the Celtics make it to the NBA Finals, I don't know what happens there. Other than Tatum, if the Celtics are in the NBA Finals and you were looking backwards, who was the key guy to getting them there? Other than Tatum, you can't say Tatum.
Rob Williams.
Can we say Marcus Smart changing his ways?
Mm-hmm. You can say that. I actually think it's Jaylen Brown. I think it's like teams are throwing guys are throwing double teams at Tatum every time he comes over half court at this point in time. And if Brown, and he's played really well the last 3 games, if this is the Brown we get in the playoffs, I think we're in great shape. But if it's not, I don't think no amount of Peyton Pritchard or Marcus Smart or Derek White's going to make up for the fact that you need a guy who can get to the hoop and score in tight situations.
Yeah, they're all great, but we talked about the lack of a rim protector. This push and these great records because of the defense, and it's Rob Williams. How he affects the game is remarkable, and he's KG in that level defensively.
He's
really good,
and we have not seen that in 15 years, and we're seeing it now.
Scotty, we've never had a center like this. There hasn't been anyone. Can you ever remember a center in Celtics history it looks anything like Robert Williams?
Well, Bill Russell, obviously.
How about yours in my lifetime?
No, KG.
KG's is close to it. Yeah, he was another level.
3 inches taller than Rob Williams too.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, Parrish, was a shot blocker.
He was 5 inches taller.
But I'm talking about the whole. I'm talking about rim running, lobs. I think KG is a good point. The closest player in Celtics history to Rob Williams is KG.
Absolutely, yeah. But obviously, offensively, Rob can't shoot.
No.
That's not a dunk or a layup.
I mean, imagine if he could develop that game though, a little shot.
It'd be amazing.
Well, Bam did. Bam all of a sudden. Bam was similar to that. And that kid.
By the way, he's a pretty decent foul shooter. When you look at him at the line, he's got nice form. Like he does not look freaked out by the fact.
75%. So that's good enough for me from a center.
Was 6 hours a day, all off season, shot. Could he develop?
The biggest indicator of being able to shoot from the outside is your foul shooting. And if he shoots foul shots well, he can shoot.
And the kid we've acquired like 20 times, but he never seems to come. Miles Turner has expanded his game as the years went on.
Yep.
Tatum, Brown, and Smart all vetoed Miles Turner. They all refused to play with him.
Is that right? Interesting.
That would have been a fun
They played with him on one of those USA teams. And when Danny went to make the move, all 3 of them went in.
So let me cross some sports here. So we're banging on Belichick for bringing the band back together, and yet Brad brought the band back together, and Al Horford has been, I think, as important a piece of this resurgence as anybody.
Yeah.
I'm aghast about how well he's lasted this year too.
Been fantastic.
Well, now he's getting rest too, so they're gonna the manager did it.
Tice is a godsend to him.
Yeah.
Oh, I love Tice. I just think he's so tough. The guy tries, and again, no matter how many years he's in the league, never gets a foul call.
Yeah. Well, you can depend on him. He can play defense out on the perimeter or inside. He's a real good all-around player.
Pretty athletic guy for the size.
Yeah.
Never dogs it for 1 second, that kid.
Nope.
Always all effort, all the time. Total Celtic. All right.
So by the way, just here's a little bit of trivia. The other night, the Celtics played on the court at the end of that game. They had Derek White and 4 white guys.
Oh, wow.
So there you go.
Wow. Wait, so they had Hauser,
Stauskas, Tice, and Pritchard, and then Derek White.
The guy named White. Yeah.
5 whites.
Yeah, very funny. That's good. Absolutely. All right, we go to the Red Sox, and it's Trevor Story 24/7.
We wanted the whole time. He was number 1 on our list. We got him.
No. I had the receipts to prove it. Scotty said he's an average player.
An average player, but he's not anymore.
As I said in the text chain, this is why Scott Kerman is the best Red Sox fan probably in history, because he went within 1 hour. He went from Trevor Story as an average player to I will beat the hell out of anyone who says anything negative about Trevor Story.
Also, that was on the spot. Great texts of all time, I will have to say.
Well,
don't you love the Red Sox propaganda machine? This is the guy. He was number 1 on our list this week. This is the guy. This is really the only guy we were looking for the whole time, and we got him. Do they think we buy their crap? You know what I mean?
Yeah. We buy it. Yeah, absolutely.
And we do.
Yeah, you just bought more. We just bought more
Right.
tickets today.
Several
So,
$1,000 worth of it.
We never cared about Suzuki. We never cared about those other guys.
Oh, we would have liked Suzuki.
Oh no!
that
All
was
we
the
wanted
mistake.
was Story. He's our guy. That's it.
Well, I first of all, very happy that Story's here. 3 years he's had 2020. We've only had 3 infielders in the history of the Red Sox, Nomar, Valentine, and I forget who else, who've had 2020 in a season.
Hey, he had a little Freudian slip in his interview. He said, I'll be playing second base this year.
Yeah.
This year, a little slip
Yeah.
of the tongue there.
Yeah, well, no, Xander's, look, he'll be playing shortstop before June. If the stats say, that, Xander's not playing well.
And to be in left.
That's my question. How much loyalty do we have to Xander? The Red Sox right now, I love Xander, but the Red Sox, their organization, do they know right now whether they're going to sign Xander or not?
No, I mean, look, I think that the thing about Xander, they got a pretty decent working relationship with Boris, I think, so I think they're hopeful that they can sign Xander, but I think they were very, very, very happy to bring in a plan B so that Boris doesn't hold them over that knife point.
I don't think they really plan to sign Xander, where the price now for a veteran shortstop is 30 million plus per year.
Yeah.
That's almost double what he's making now, is what, Correa and the others are all making.
In 3 years, we're going
to have, they're all making 33, 35.
Very expensive infield when these guys, when the contracts all come up in a couple of years.
Well, Xander is, he should go to left field. There's no question. Either Xander,
that's one of your best ideas, Scotty. I gotta say that.
Yeah, he's made for left field, and also actually he'll probably hit better too. Yeah,
And we have a good second baseman in the farm system, right?
Nick York is going to come up, and Nick York, I've watched highlights of this kid. This kid is legit.
All right, so look at second.
They're loaded with middle infielders in their organization right now, with good middle infielders.
All right, Devers at third, right? Or maybe at first, and then you get Xander in left. You got Kiki in center, and I'm not sure you put him over to right field.
Yeah, look, it's going to be Tristan Casas. He's not going to come up right away, but he's going to be your first baseman for a long time, you hope. Nick York at second, and then Trevor Story at short. You'd have Devers at third, Xander at left. Oh my God!
Kiki in center, and
if you keep Kiki, that's going to be a question, guys. We'll go for many other shows because Kiki's a free agent after this year. I don't think they're going to break the bank for him.
I think this year is going to, was that a flash in the pan that we saw in the World Series in the playoffs? Is he going to, no one can keep that pace up, but is he going to be a shade of that, all year?
Yeah, I mean, look, I think they're just looking for, and rightly so. I think Chaim's done a good job. I think they're looking for optionality, right? Like, okay, we've got Kike. Well, if Xander leaves, we could put Story at short. And if it's easier for us to get a center fielder to replace Kike, we'll get a center fielder. We can move Kike to second, or we go get another second.
Right, what price range is Kike in, do we say, going forward?
I don't know. Kike's probably what, a $10 to $15 million a year player?
That's what I was thinking. Yeah, 50.
The market seems to be going up maybe 15 to 18.
Yeah,
5 years, 70 million.
Sure.
Yeah,
right. But
this is because Duran did not develop.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, this is the problem.
This is the problem.
And that's why you can't depend on these prospects.
That's right.
Because if I can't even imagine what they could have gotten Duran for in the open market last year.
Right
now, all of a sudden, he has no value. The professor was not on the show last week, and we missed you dearly. But
deviated drastically.
So you didn't get the opportunity to go off on Nana Chrissy sale, and that's Nana Chrissy, not Nana Chris, Nana Chrissy sale. The biggest phony north of Pablo Sandoval. Go ahead, Russ. What is this?
Look, I have more criticism of Red Sox ownership and management than I do Sale. Like
thank you, Russ.
I believe believes the thing he says. I believe he actually does feel like he's been stealing money, but that's really not his problem. Someone's going to put a contract across the table and say, I'll pay you $35 million a year for 6 years. You're going to do it. Like
I'm going to put a weird analogy in here. Do I bring, Father Gagan, the abusive priest? I blame Cardinal Law for letting him stay and putting him in the parishes. This was management that signed Chris Sale.
Yeah, I mean, look, this was
they offer you $30 million a year. I don't care.
Sign it.
Walking with a wheelchair, I say yes.
Absolutely.
Well, and I believe he does feel bad about it, but he did not do anything to deserve that contract in the Red Sox uniform. It was some weird reactionary move to John Lester leaving, right? And having overpaid for Price or whatnot, but they got what they're sleeping, they're bathing in their own bathwater on this thing. And he will go down. He will go down as probably the biggest bust signing in the history of the Red Sox, and that includes Carl Crawford. For God's sake.
I do believe this guy would play hurt if they let him. I think he would give his all.
But this whole thing, like this is where Scott's phony thing comes in, right? You read all these stories about how he rents out the he gave all this money to this college in University of Central Florida, South Florida. He's organizing team activities. All these guys are getting ready. And he cracked his ribs because he didn't know what the hell he was doing.
Yeah. How did he crack a ribs on a pitch?
I mean, I don't know. Maybe he was lifting weights, but whatever the case was, all of this stuff, I give money, I'm going to open the gym, I'm going to be this, like, whatever. You cracked a rib because you didn't train properly.
Well, he hasn't trained properly for years. Have you ever seen a skinnier athlete in the history of professional sports?
No.
Olive oil.
I've never seen something like that.
Between his body type and his throwing motion, anyone who looked at Chris Sale knew that there was going to be a Tommy John surgery in his future.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Well, what do you guys think about the rest of the rotation? Evaldi, Pavetta,
I don't know. I mean, now we're pinning our hopes to Nathan Evaldi. He's been injured more than Chris Sale has in his career.
But Evaldi's been
number one.
He's been well worth the contract they gave.
I totally agree with that.
Guy, you look what he did in the playoffs last year.
But take a look at that guy's body and compare it to Chris Sale and tell me who spent more time thinking about how do I maintain myself as a major league pitcher.
I mean, he's from the same town as Nolan Ryan. I mean, that's what he's trying to be, the next Nolan Ryan. I love the kid,
I love him.
And they can't afford to lose him. So I would like to see him re-signed. And, he's had 2 Tommy Johns, so hopefully that's it for that. And,
can I just say one thing? There is no reason to re-sign Nathan Evaldi until he gets into August or September, for God's sake.
Yes, agreed. Then you don't have the Chris Sale situation.
No,
again.
exactly.
A few years injured, a few years injured, right?
Right. So wait to see him get through another year, and then if you have to pay a little bit more in the offseason to bring him back, that's fine. But I don't know. It's not good.
What about Tanner Houck? Do you think he'll pitch more than 5 innings this year, or are they going to baby him again?
I don't know.
No, I hear,
third time through the rotation.
So I hear that teams 3 times a week rather than 1 time a week. You got to get him. These starters don't go past 4 or 5 innings anymore. You know what I mean?
No, I like
3 times.
I love him.
Do you know how many pitchers there on this expanded roster that the Sox are going to probably carry to start the year? 15 pitchers. They're going to have 10 relief pitchers.
It's up to 28 now they can carry, right?
Yeah.
These starters, you'll be lucky to see 4 out of them, right?
I think
why would we want to see 4 innings a week out of Hoke when we get 12 innings a week out of him?
I think, Timmy, you're probably right. Until June, end of June, you may see these guys pitching no more than 5 innings. Just they want to be careful with them.
Oh, they're going to have relief pitcher games. Remember, this is Chaim Bloom. He cut his teeth in Tampa. And that was their idea. So, it's going to be a weird setup. At least they brought back the Ghost Runner the last day.
Right.
Major League Baseball doesn't know what the hell they're doing. Too funny. They literally created a rule just for Ohtani. So now if you're a pitcher and you're also the DH, who would that be? if they take you out as a pitcher, you can continue as the DH.
Although, can I make an argument for this though? The Major League Baseball needs stars.
Yeah.
So just keep Ohtani in these games. I want him pitching and playing every single game, taking every single at bat that guy can get.
It's
Yeah.
like, why,
I got no problem
why
with that.
diminish your ratings? Like he's out of the lineup, people turn the channel, right?
Go for it. Just give me good players. Put the damn ball into play. I was having this big text argument with this. I'm done with the strategy. I'm done with everything. Get the ball, put the ball into play.
Yeah.
Pitch it, hit it, run.
I'm ready for
field
7
it.
innings.
What
tomorrow.
about how are they gonna enforce the no shift rule?
No,
Oh,
they're not,
easy.
it's not in yet.
It's not in yet, but it's just 2 guys. You have to have 2 guys on one side of the bag and 2 guys on the other. It's easy. That's the easiest rule in baseball.
Is that happening this year?
No, not this year. No.
But also, they'd have lines too, probably. They just have lines in the field where they
could just put a line, but I don't think it's hard to. That's not going to be hard to enforce. Look, I am happy. I would be shocked if they don't have a pitch clock next year. It looks like that's going to happen. They're going to run it through all of minor league baseball. That's a great outcome.
Yeah.
You know, if there's no shift, you should get a lot of lefties.
Oh no. Yeah. Right. Look.
There's always that big hole between first and second.
The shift has changed the way we watch baseball for the negative.
Yeah.
What we think when you see it off the bat, what's a hit. And like Russ just said, look, nothing more exciting than a triple. Or at least that's a hell of a lot more exciting than a home run. So
totally true. I'm done with walks, I'm done with strikeouts, and I'm mostly done with home runs.
Yeah. Absolutely. Yeah.
Balls in play. That's all I care about at this point in time.
Right. Watch the guy run.
I don't want to watch the pitcher work 10, 12 pitches at every batter.
Yep.
Well, just so you guys feel good about the season, Rich Hill pitched yesterday, 89 years old, from Milton, Massachusetts.
Walks away from me.
Timmy's neighbor, and he got up as high as 85 on the gun. So there you go.
Struck out 2.
He's not signed for his false gun.
Crafty lefty.
There are probably guys on Milton High who throw harder than
We
Rich
got
Hill.
3 kids who are all D1 commits that'll be pitching this year in the 90s.
65-mile-an-hour off-speed pitch.
Although, again, Scotty, I would tell you, you're such a good fan that if Rich Hill starts the year 4-0, in May, you will lead off this show.
Yeah,
You will be like, Rich Hill, comeback player of the year in the MLB or not?
And Michael Walker,
That would be the biggest surprise if Michael Walker does it.
How good Michael Walker was in 2013. That's all I hear. If he could just bounce back from 9 years ago.
Yeah, forget about the 8 years in between when he sucked.
We have to get going, but I can't leave the show without asking you guys this question. You know I love Chaim Bloom, and I trust him. But if Chaim Bloom could have a do-over on the Hunter Renfroe deal right now, do you think he would do it over?
Yeah, he got fleeced.
It feels like it. That was a bad deal. I don't even need the season to begin for me personally.
Yeah.
He's now chasing after someone like Hunter Renfroe.
Yeah,
there was another patch on the deal and it didn't work out.
Suzuki penciled in right field.
Had to be, right?
Or somebody else. Like, I don't think they. It's so hard to. It's somebody. But yeah, I think you're probably right, Scott. Because if we had Hunter Renfroe right now, we could be feeling really, really good about this team.
No question. And also, like Joe said, and I give it to you, Joe, Hunter Renfroe would have a lot more value right now in a trade because of the universal DH.
Mm-hmm.
And this guy, Pinellas,
31 homers, 100 RBIs, and hit what did he hit, about 270 last year?
Yeah, he carried them at times.
Every team in both leagues would want that out of their DH.
And the kid Pinellas, who they got, the main prospect, his ceiling upon all ceilings in his whole life of his career is Hunter Renfroe. I mean, I don't understand that one. If I see Chaim Bloom in the street, I'm asking him. All right, that's our show for tonight. Want to thank Ian behind the scenes. Want to thank, of course, the fellas. Please check us out on our website at thegrandstanders.com and tune in again next Wednesday night at 6:30 for another edition of Grandstanders Live. I'm your host, Scott Kerman. Have a great and happy night.